Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about reports, automated reports, custom reports in many formats, starting with a Jupyter notebook and converting to many formats. Most importantly here, HTML, presentation slides, and PDF. So let's start with the most basic thing. This is sample.ipynb. Um, for people who are not familiar, this cell can be converted to three types: code, markdown, and raw. Code is, normal Python. You can say print hello, and you get input and output. This can be converted to markdown. Markdown is basically HTML, but on a high level. So instead of doing h1 hello, you could simply do #1 hello, and it would do the same thing. Okay. H2 is this, and in H3 you put 3, and so on. Sometimes you might want to do this because it allows you to use full HTML. So you can say style, color, dark red, for example. You can't do this here. You can say font size 44 points, and you can modify it as much as you want. Anyways, in 90% of the cases, I use just normal markdown, and in some cases you might want to modify it. So let's start with hello world and run this. Of course, when you run this, there's no output. It just is converted to HTML, and I save this. Now I have a terminal here. And if you don't know, you can arrange these windows any way you want. Okay, so the application we're going to be using is called Quarto, which is for these types of documents, and we start with a preview command. Quarto preview, the name of this file, sample.ipynb, and we hit run, and it converts this to an HTML document for us. Okay, so the user doesn't need to go through this stuff, and that's it. Now we can add other stuff. We can say whatever, website report. This is H2. We can say XML sitemap, robots.txt, and when we save, it gets refreshed and reflected over here, H1, H2, and so on. Okay. You can easily put unordered lists, 1, 2, with a star, and it gets converted to a bullet list. This is not saved. When I save, it gets saved, displayed this way. You can do ordered list, also very easy. Just say 1, January, February, March, and it gets displayed as 1, 2, 3. When I save, it refreshes. Here we go. Another thing is tables. So number, you just draw the table. Okay, month and day, and you can do this to convert it to a table. So we say 10 January 12, for example, and whatever, 13, 14, 14, 22, and this gets converted to a nice HTML table. Save, and we see it over here. Okay. We can also do images with, let me just get an image. Galaxy, why not? Is this copy image address? Okay, so the way to put images is exclamation mark, square brackets, parentheses, and you put the URL over here. And let's see if that works. Yes, it does. I save, and I have the image over here. Okay. So if you want to customize it further, you can You can use the image tag and say, okay, width 300, 400, whatever. Cool. Now, the other more important thing that we want to do usually is write code. Okay. So for I, let's say in range 10, print I and I times whatever, something like this. And this should, yes, it does get reflected here. Okay, so this is where this gets interesting and dynamic. So if you have a weekly report, for example, every week you run the same thing, but you have a different CSV file and you have a different report, but the code is the same, the data is the same. The values are different, but the data set is the same data frame, for example. We can put charts, and we can say, let's create a bar chart. X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Y is equal to some bunch of random numbers. Just make this, save. And okay, there's a bug here where Excel, the plotly.js file doesn't get loaded sometimes, so you have to restart the notebook. I'm not sure where that bug is with Quarto or with. So this is restarted. Okay, now I save. It should, yes, here we go. Okay, so my user doesn't have to go through this or know how to use a Jupyter notebook. They can just get this HTML file. Now, we want to customize this further. So I don't want them to see this code, for example, because I just want them to see the chart. So what I can do is go to this cell and add a comment. This comment should be followed by the pipe character, and I can say echo false. Echo is from Linux, which is like the print in Python. So don't echo this code. See, plotly.js not found. I'm going to restart it. Okay. So when you put echo false to a cell, it doesn't display the code. It just displays the output. Here we go. Okay, so again, this could be a dynamic report that gets done once a week, or like, let's say if you run an agency and you have 50 clients, and for every one of them you have a weekly report, you can create all of them and just update them with new data every week or every month or something like that, so you don't spend a lot of time doing this. Okay. Okay, so that's the basic idea. Now we can use this in a different format. I'm going to stop this server, and I'm going to add a new cell in the raw format. Okay, and I'm going to put 3 dashes, 3 dashes, and here you can put YAML options, and you can say format is reveal JS. Okay, so reveal JS is a very nice JavaScript library that for creating slides and so on. It has very nice designs and templates, and you can convert this to a reveal presentation. So let's see if that works. Here we go. So now we have a first slide, second slide, third slide. And where's my chart? There's something wrong. Okay, so what went wrong here is that for this to know about slides, we have to tell it that this is a slide. Okay, and it knows that it's a new slide when it sees an H2. Okay, so this is H2. It makes it a different slide. This is H2. Everything underneath that is a new slide, and everything underneath that is a new slide. Okay. H1 becomes a title of a section. H2 is a new slide, see H2, but this wasn't in its own slide because it doesn't have an H2 attached to it. So we can say, let's put an H2 here, learn for loops, and save. And now, yes, we learn for loops, and this is included with it. So one option with reveal is we can say scrollable true. So this, I can't scroll this. This is stuck here. So I'm going to say scrollable is true. And now, even though it doesn't look nice, at least I can move around in my slide. Okay. So there's another way to create a new slide, which is simply by putting 3 dashes. Okay. I save, and now it goes on its own. Okay. We also have this navigation here. So you can go to a slide. And a nice feature as well here is when you click and it works. Okay, you click the E button, the E character, and it shows you this PDF format, and you can Control P and save as PDF if you want. Okay. Hello world and my documents. Let me go to my documents. Here we go. Hello world. And here it is. Okay. Obviously, this is not interactive anymore because it's a PDF file. But you know, if you want to convert it, you can easily do so. Clear so far? Everything? Okay. Cool. So this was just a demo of and this is what happens over here. You get a sample file as an HTML file, but it's not, there's no theme or styles. It comes with a separate folder that has all these things. And you know, you have to ship the whole thing together. There's an option where you, once you're done designing and finalizing your presentation, is embed resources. So if you say embed resources true, this will put all the resources like CSS and images in one HTML file. Okay. So here we go. See, that folder went, and now my sample is fully designed here, full HTML. Okay. So I can simply download this in my documents, and I can just open it and email it to people, and they would be able to view it this way. So it's an HTML presentation that is interactive. See, and you can scroll, and it has navigation over here, and you know the user can also do the PDF export mode if they want to. Okay. So one thing to do with real data and stuff is I have a bunch of templates here. I downloaded one. There's the Awesome Notebooks repository. So I have a bunch of AdverTools templates. So these are just bare bones, like 5-6 cells that do one thing. Here's the template. You know, this is for XML sitemaps. There's a few links. This is the code, and you get some output. So I just took this and copied it, and did some modification for the XML sitemap of Google. And these are the findings. Okay. So these are a bunch of further options that I like to use. Okay. So you can put a title. Under format HTML, then you can set a theme, for example, Cosmo. Echo false, don't show the code cells. Anchor sections, you know, every section should be anchored. Table of contents true. Table of contents location, where do you want it? Left, right, body, wherever you want. Table of content expand. Embed resources false for now. Once we're done, we can set this to true, and page layout full. I want the full width of the page to be displayed. So same thing over here. We can say Quarto preview Google sitemap analysis. And this should, yes. So this is my report for this website. Here we have table of contents, and so on. Okay. And this you can change it the way you want. Like, depends on what errors you see, depends on what issues you see or opportunities or anything. You can modify it however you want. So if you think this is TOC location, let's say body, it would put this in the middle right here and make the page wider. If you put it on the left, you can see it all the time, but the page becomes much narrower. So here are the errors they have. My favorite, which they don't want to change, is this one: Webmaster Tools sitemap gets a 404. That must be their idea of a Easter egg or a bonus. If you want to feel that you're human and it's okay to make mistakes, well, Google has a 404 page in the Webmaster Tools sitemap. Anyways, so that's one example. Another example is the crawl of a website of Quarto itself, the software that we're using to convert this notebook to HTML. Okay, so let's see. Quarto preview org. Yes. Okay. So Quarto is this. This is the software I'm using to convert. This is the documentation website. So we have these. You can take a look at how the website is structured. You have reference here, 46 pages. It's a small website. Presentations has whatever, how many pages, interactive, and so on. So you can check it out. Here's a bunch of stuff, URLs in sitemap not crawled. We have 59 URLs. So if it's not a huge number, you can display them here like this. Crawled not in sitemap, you can put them also here. Error pages, we have like 6 or 7 404s, and this is also a worksheet, right? It's not just a report. You can immediately copy this and see what's the error and make sure it's not working. Duplicated title tags, so they're not many, so we can display them here, and they're not really duplicated. I mean, there's, as you can see, there's a bunch of index.html. So this is the same page. It's just duplicated URLs. So underneath that, we can add a recommendation over here, right? We can just say, like, we recommend you redirect from here to here, delete those pages, or whatever we recommend. Meta descriptions, it seems we have 253 pages that are missing and duplicated in 2. So in this case, it's not nice to put them on the same page. What we can do is save them in the CSV and link to it right there. So here's the list. Okay. Words and title tags, we can count them. Here, there's a lot of opportunity in talking more about, converting Jupyter to other formats, creating books, websites, and so on. It's mostly the brand name, options, code. You can see the same thing here with bigrams. We don't have many redirects. XML sitemaps doesn't have any errors or duplicates. Sitemap sizes and counts are fine. This is the count of URL structure, directory 1, 2, 3, and so on. So you can start with any template you want and modify it any way you want. Another example is the whole documentation website of AdViz is built with Quarto. Okay, So, and most pages have two versions. You have the page itself, and you have it as a bunch of slides. So you can also publish websites, blogs, and so on. Let me just delete this. Whoops. Sorry. You can also put data. So here's a chart if you want to download the HTML itself as a raw HTML file. You can have a URL list. This is a big one. You can download it as a CSV, and so on. So lots of options here to explore and customize any way you want and reproduce. That's the most important thing. So if this is something I do every crawl, you can just automate it every time and make small modifications or different ways of display depending on the size of the data. For example, here we display them, and in the other case, you can put them in a link right next to the folder. The same thing we did last week, which is the full audit, was done also with Quarto and converted this way. And it's a larger notebook, so you can modify it any way you want, and so on. Yeah, there's so many different things that you can do with these options here, the global options of the document. And there are so many different options that you can modify in per cell. So, display code, don't display code. Sometimes you can hide the code and put a triangle where the user can expand and see, and so on. Yeah, so that's the basic idea. To automate reports, slides, PDFs, HTML, and you can go crazy. You can do Word documents, you can do PowerPoint, so many different formats.
For things like PowerPoint or Google Slides, is that something that is part of Reveal.js, like a converter, or is that a Quarto function?
No, it's a Quarto thing. You can convert
Okay.
from this format to PowerPoint or to anything else.
Right.
But as I showed a few minutes ago, you can convert Quarto to PDF, and within that interface.
Okay. That's great. I hadn't looked at Reveal.js for a long time. It's looks like it's come a long way.
Yeah, it's great. Like the themes, you can just change it from here, like whatever, darkly. Is this still running? Yeah. No, you can select anything you want. It's not readable, this one. It looks nice, but difficult to read. You can say flatly, and it should change it. Different fonts, different colors, whichever you prefer.
And if you wanted to use your own style sheet or something, would you
Oh yeah.
embed that as a resource within the notebook, or you would just link to a style sheet that you had created? Or I
So
guess either.
what you do is, let me show you an actual example that I have uh, here in the intro to the course. This. So here we put theme. Where did it go? Yeah, theme flatly. Here you can say theme a list. So the default theme, but override this with theme.scss, which is this file over here. So
Okay.
there's a bunch of variables. I just changed the border left to this, body background to this color, presentation heading color to steel blue, whatever. You can just modify 3-4 elements. You can also add a logo to every page. Quarto has a nice demo of a presentation that they have. Let me see. Yeah, so that's basically the idea is that you can customize it any way you want and use it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's and if could this be used to generate like a nice HTML email template and send emails from there, or is that out of the scope of this?
You could yes, absolutely. That's one of the main ideas. So
Okay.
this one like once you convert this to an HTML file, it's just a file that you can attach and
Yeah,
send, and they would just double click. But the most important thing is to embed resources, this option.
gotcha.
Okay. So this
Yeah,
one is not for emailing, it's just for me to present. So I just put false, no need to, because it makes it very heavy sometimes. This is a longish presentation, but in something like this, you can put embed resources true, and it would be just an HTML file that you can. So if you have, yeah, a bunch of clients, you can automate, I don't know, 50 presentations per week and send them out
great.
with dynamic values and your logo and design and theme.
Very cool.
Cool. So yeah, these are the now we can, use this with the, I hope that this is clear how we did last week's audit. Maybe it wasn't clear, but so here's an option to put incremental uh, bullet points. Just do this incremental before and after with three colons, and they will be displayed one by one, just like in a PowerPoint presentation, for example.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool. Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's the stuff. We'll see some great presentations soon, right?
Yeah, we're working on it. You really got me interested in Jupyter. I'm still trying to figure out the difference between Jupyter Hub and Jupyter Lab and everything, but this idea of having individual like user spaces that you can post in kind of like a multi-tenant thing is a very interesting thing. I just need to understand the
So it's the difference is just like the difference between Excel and Google Drive.
okay,
So Jupyter Hub would be your own mini Google Drive kind of thing, and every user would have an access to their own server
yeah,
where, the main advantage is that, the advantages of having a document run online.
yeah,
You don't
right,
have to be there. Your computer doesn't have to be running, especially with jobs that take a long time. So crawling is one case. If you want to crawl in 10 hours and do it very slow while you're sleeping, with your laptop it might not work, but if it's on a server, it's much easier. And then you can do the sharing stuff. So one client could have a small server with multiple users, and they could share stuff between one another. The main benefit here is that the data is in one place. Okay. So if I crawl a website and the data is on my computer and I want you to analyze it, I'm going to have to send you like 2 GB of data, and someone else has to download that. But in this case, you just have this file in one place, and you can have multiple notebooks analyzing that file. And that makes the process much more efficient and easy. Or, while I'm crawling, you can start analyzing immediately. And then once the crawl has finished, for example, we can review everything and so on. So that's the main advantage of the hub.
that makes sense.
Great.